On this issue of Fashion Classics, it's your retro countdown to style. Do you remember the fall of 1995? Here's how the season shaped up that year, according to the top fashion editors.
Most recent collections were a time of good taste as opposed to vulgarity. And it wasn't a season where we saw a lot of remarkable new things. It was really sort of developments of ideas that we'd seen before that were made in a finer way and more sort of thoughtful, more assured way.
This season, going into fall into winter, is what I would call a safe season. Now that may not be exciting as far as designers are concerned, but for the American woman, it is very reassuring because for the first time in many a season, she is seeing things that she can actually wear.
Autumn-winter was a great season from glamour's point of view because for once the runway got real. And it wasn't about gimmicks. It wasn't about wild fashion that everyone's going to talk about but not really wear.
The overview really of the collections, I think this fall was very much a continuation of what we saw in the spring, which was a return to very chic, very accessible, very wearable clothes with much more of an emphasis on shape and color.
I think women are going to have a great time going shopping this fall. They're going to have such an incredible choice of different suits, of dresses, coats, all different kinds of looks for work. And then, of course, there's plenty for casual. This really is a fall to go out and fill your closet because the clothes are so wearable.
Now a look back at the top 10 trends from fall 1995. Fashion classic or short-lived trend? You decide.
There's a general, very big change in the fall, 95, 96. And basically, I think it has to do with tailoring and a more structure, and it's all built around the woman and her body and shape.
Shape was the #1 trend for fall 1995, and what was shaping up was a return to frankly feminine silhouettes that showed off the female body. The #2 trend in 95, knitwear.
The whole area of knits is really big for fall, and women love knits.
Once considered dowdy, knits became the modern alternative to suit dressing in 1995. Ski wear came off the slopes and hit the streets as another big trend for 95.
We saw a lot of the ski-inspired clothes, but they're not clothes that you would wear on the slopes. I think that they're not about sports clothes or active clothes. They're really taking that notion of sleekness and slimness to the body and applying it to different kinds of clothes.
To me, it's a new statement on sophistication.
The best collections in the fall of 1995 took a conservative turn. Finally, the clothes could actually be worn in real life and weren't just for the theatrics of the runway. But for a walk on the wild side, designers followed their instincts with savage patterns for that year.
I'm not sure that many people will wear a zebra pantsuit, head to toe, but I think that in small doses, adding an accent of leopard or an accent of animal print or fake fur is a great way to add some dash to what you're wearing.
And nothing added dash to dressing that fall 95 like color.
Women love color. Yes, we like black. Yes, we can be accepting of beige, but there is nothing like color to perk up everybody's spirits. And when a woman dresses in a beautiful color, she will get more compliments on that day than she will ever get by wearing a kind of what I call a thankless beige.
Mad over mod. In the fall of 95, it was a groovy flashback to the 1960s, a favorite theme of designers the world over.
mod look was very strong, and it had to do with the crossover man-woman androgyny dressing.
Menswear looks for women made news, but the difference in '95 was in the cut. So sexy it couldn't be anything but feminine. Designers also looked to the West for inspiration that fall.
The Western look really never ever goes out of fashion. People who live elsewhere like the fantasy of the West. And there are enough different Western fantasies that we can keep shifting them around from season to season to make them look new and fresh. Right now, because fashion's in a very, very glamorous retro mood, the Western clothes look like something out of a Western movie, not out of the real West.
That Las Vegas trend was big, but the real trendsetters that fall were shining.
Anything that had some shimmer, lurex, vinyl, patent leather, you obviously wouldn't want to wear all those shiny fabrics together unless you're very daring.
A look back at the top 10 looks from the fall of 1995. Fashion classics still today. Think back. What was the color of choice that fall 1995?
Grey, I would say, is the lead colour in the real world. All the kind of greys, from gunmetal right through to silver.
In the fall of 1995, designers saw it in shades of gray. From charcoal to silver and every nuance in between, gray was the color of choice and became an alternative basic to black. Here were 10 unbeatable examples. The color gray, making headlines in 1995. No one spins the color wheel as quickly as the models do. They seem to change their hair color as often as their dresses. Here were 10 models who set the pace for the color of the moment in 1995.
Color is in because fashion does not stop at the neck.
Hair color is the most important accessory that anyone could have. Without hair color, hair doesn't have its shine. Who are you?
Trish Goff sported shades of difference that year. Once she was a winsome brunette. Carrie Clausen frequently changed her locks. Helena Christensen was kissed by the sun that fall. And no one even remembers Kristen McMenemy's true color. After a year of streaking through as a blonde, Megan Douglas went drop-dead red. Sarah O'Hare also went to extremes, from blonde to extremely black. And straight out of a comic strip came SIBYL Buck's new hue. Model Marinda got noticed with no hair. Now she dies for attention. Once bald, now she shows off her tattoo. Eve opted for a new shade of glamour. But Linda Evangelista did it first and sported every color of the rainbow, from brunette to blonde and every shade in between. In 1995, she was back to beautiful brown, for that season anyway.
What's so wonderful about this season and what makes it so important in terms of meaningful fashion is that Almost every designer did the important items.
Did you add any of these top 10 items to your wardrobe in the fall of 1995? Here's the checklist. The pantsuit was a timeless classic and remains a wardrobe must-have. Something quilted made news in '95 and is still a cozy classic. The sheath dress proved an elegant option to slip dresses of seasons past. In 1995, the slim cigarette pants smoldered with sex appeal. Twin sets worked double duty and returned time and again as a true fashion classic. The suit remained a wardrobe staple that year, and the knee-length skirt was the newest option, though many women rebelled against its longer look. Black leather coats remained a chic investment for fall '95, and the little black cocktail dress never goes out of style. The satin ball gown returned as a dramatic entrance maker that year. The top 10 items for fall 1995 from the Fashion Vault. Around the fashion capitals, here were the 10 events that made headlines in the fall of 1995. How many do you remember? In Milan, an outstanding Gucci collection received rave reviews.
Well, just because something's classic doesn't mean it can't be fun. Obviously, it was less classic than what we've done in the past.
In October 1995, the design house of Krizia celebrated 40 years.
The exhibition itself is really spectacular. You have to hand it to the Italians. The way they do the staging is just amazing.
The supermodels returned to the runways in London that fall '95.
There's a lot of talent here, and it's sad, but when supermodels in your show, you get more press.
It's kind of nice just to support it and bring it back to TV and into the magazines again.
It is great that these girls want to be seen supporting British fashion. I think it's sensational.
Designer Helen's story went underground to show her collection that fall.
And I've been walking up and down this tunnel since I was about 3 years old, being dragged along to museums when I was too young to enjoy them. And it just seemed like the perfect location.
Ben DeLisi had his first runway show in '95, and glamour was the main event.
Well, because I won the Glamour Award, it's very glamorous. It's very fluid and understated, and just on the right side of being dangerously sexy.
The John Galliano show in Paris again had the press raving.
Some of the most beautiful evening clothes I've ever seen, ever in my whole life.
It was really lovely to watch, an inspiration.
1995 marked Terry Mugler's 20th year in fashion with a spectacular $3 million show.
He is one of the most wonderful designers because he not only designs fabric, but he designs, obviously, people's lives.
But it's funny, so funny. It's a great show.
Was it that long ago? 1995 was also the year that the Fashion Cafe made headlines.
Will be a possibility for people that maybe don't know so much about fashion yet, get a glimpse into the real scene of fashion and what's happening backstage.
But the party of the '95 season was for the Francois Nars makeup launch. Everyone was there.
I wanted like a crazy party. It was good music, great pictures and movies everywhere, and nice people, so.
Queen of the night Suzanne Bartsch put on a show and got married.
I'm not scared to make statements. I think statements are very important. They keep you alive, they keep you young, and I think that's what life is about.
That's the headlines that made news in fall 1995. The 90s were a decade of great advances in fabric technology. Synthetics and stretch made our clothes more comfortable. We wrinkled less and moved with greater freedom. Here's what designers said in 1995.
Fabrics, to me, of course, are always the most exciting thing about doing a collection.
Fashion only comes from the creativity that you want to put into fabrics and then ultimately put into garments.
Technology will send us new fabrics. There are probably more synthetics than before simply because they contain more stretch. But we have millions of types of fabrics around.
Today, you don't even know where cotton starts, where wool ends, where silk comes, and where artificial fibers are mixed, And this is interesting because one has to touch the material today to know vaguely what it is or where it comes from.
The fabrics went everywhere from very, very classic worsted wools all the way through to the most modern and brand new technological fabrics in the new forms of leatherettes and the mock croc and different fabrics.
It's been a really exciting season for fabrics.
Can you count down the top 10 fabrics for 1995? Classic wool had added texture, which made it new. And tweeds returned as a fashion classic that year. Lace emerged as a new fall favorite. And camel hair was a fabric of choice for fall 1995. Fake fur continued to prowl the runways from seasons past. And satin shone for both day and night. In 1995, plastics were the future. And leather remained a wardrobe staple. Mohair returned in '95 after a long absence. And velvet proved a favorite fabric for women, which never goes out of style. And you can still wear these fabrics with a twist. Here's some advice.
New fabrics in wearable shapes is a very good rule of thumb when you're shopping. If you want to get a little newness in your wardrobe, but you don't want to go too far, that's something to remember.
So what did we wear with all these new styles for the '95 season? Here's the lowdown on all that was new.
Boots. I think one easy update is to take a classic suit or a classic sheath dress and wear a tight, close to the leg, knee boot or mid-calf boot with it.
The key shoe of the season is a low-heeled stiletto. It's very easy to walk on, it's pretty, it's got a pointy but not too pointy toe.
The belt is getting wider and it's lower on the hip.
I, for one, would love to see the return of the hat because I think they're a lot of fun. And I think women always feel a little bit more glamorous wearing a hat. I think women love the idea of wearing hats and adore the idea of wearing gloves.
A great, big, spectacularly jeweled brooch is the #1 accessory of the season.
The trend in legs was bare looking, and designers even showed bare legs. And I think what they really wanted to say is that they really believe in nude hose again.
If I'm going to find a way to dress myself up, I open the drawer that is filled with scarves and I pull one of them out, and surely it will do the trick.
Smaller, neater, handheld little purses are back.
I think the most important accessories are your dark glasses.
The top 10 in 1995. Classic accessories still today. It was a season where glamour dressing returned at night. After seasons of dressed-down evenings, in the fall of 1995, it was suddenly okay to go all out. Here are 10 of the best evening looks of the fall '95 season. Into the night beautifully. Now the last word on fall 1995.
Both the designers and the press felt that it was time to move into something that was really much more understandable and feminine, and I think that was true across the board, whether you talk about London or Paris, Milan or New York. And I think that no matter what your body type or your lifestyle, you're going to find lots of clothes in the stores for you this season that you'll be pleased to find.
For the first time in many a season, women will find things that they can actually wear, what they can buy and afford.
And so I do feel that this is a season where women will have no reason to complain. I really think they're going to be happy when they get in the store and find these things.
That was the good news in 1995, but the bottom line remains.
Just because something is news and it's fashionable, and we magazines are talking about it, if something is not becoming, if it isn't right for you, you shouldn't do it.
Fashion classics from the fall of 1995.